Enough of politics and conflict now. Let's talk about something simpler, like your phone charger. Have you ever struggled to find the right cable when your phone runs out of juice? Does your bag have a bunch of tangled cables, one to charge your phone, a different one to charge your tablet, and an altogether different cable for your earphones? Well, if you are in India, you may not need to carry so many cables in the future, especially if you use an iPhone. You see, India could shift to a universal charger for all. The Indian government is considering a proposal. If it goes through, then only two kinds of chargers will remain in use. One that will be compatible for all devices and another one for low-cost feature phones, those that come with a keypad. Now, how would that look like for the average consumer, people like you and me? It means we'll be left with just this charger, the USB Type-C. It stands for Universal Serial Bus Type-C. I'm not going to bore you with a technical definition of that, but just focus on one word: universal. The USB Type-C is an industry standard. Anyone has the option to use it. The Type-C cable is common in Android phones. There is only one player perhaps who doesn't like the Type-C. No prizes for guessing, it's Apple. It is the only major manufacturer that has not embraced the Type-C. Apple has its own way to charge its phones and other devices. The company calls it the Lightning Charger. It works just like the Type-C, but these cables are completely different from each other. You cannot use a Type-C cable on an iPhone. A Lightning cable will not work on an Android. But now, if the Indian government gets its way, you'll only need one charger in your bag: the Type-C. A task force has been set up. The government is holding wide-ranging consultations. There seems to be a broad consensus for a universal charger. India won't be the first one to do this. Recently, the European Union announced a universal charger mandate. In 2024, all devices there will ship with a Type-C port. You must have figured that Apple is a clear loser here. Initially, the company tried to push back. When European lawmakers were discussing the idea, Apple wrote to them. It argued that a universal charger will stifle innovation. Apple couldn't sway the EU with that argument. It will have to follow the new rules and ship its products with a Type-C port in 2024. Now, that asks the question, why did Brussels push for universal chargers? In 2021, a European leader explained the benefits. Listen in.
This approach alone will allow us to save 1,000 tons of electronic waste per year, 2,600 tons less of raw materials, and also because it is now an indicator that we must also look at, in any case, my portfolio. We make sure that we measure it now more and more. The impact on CO2 is a saving of 180,000 tons of equivalent CO2.
Dans mon portefeuille, on fait en sorte qu'on le mesure maintenant.
Now, let me explain. The EU rules are designed to reduce e-waste. India's proposal seems to be targeted at e-waste as well. Take a look at these numbers. In 2021, India generated 5 million tons of e-waste. India is the third largest producer of e-waste in the world, just behind China and the United States. And you don't really need numbers to understand how serious a problem this is, I'm sure. Many of you have drawers filled with the mess of old cables and chargers, perhaps a friend who is still hoarding old and obsolete gadgets. Maybe they don't know where to take them or how to dispose them of. There is good reason for that. More than 95% of e-waste in India is handled by the informal sector. So India is already staring at a huge mountain of e-waste. How can we tackle this problem? Reducing the sheer number of chargers we use is a good starting point, an easy fix. However, it remains to be seen how India will approach this. Will New Delhi bring in a law to implement universal chargers, or will it take another approach? We'll all have to wait and see what happens next. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.